Usyk ain't on the list. He's a no-name. No one's interested and it doesn't make any money. So what would I want to fight him for?
Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So of course, this weekend we have the massive fight, or the rematch, between Oleksandr Usyk and Anthony Joshua. Usyk will be defending his unified heavyweight titles. And obviously it's a massive fight with a lot of interest. Will Oleksandr Usyk repeat what he did last September and outbox Anthony Joshua? Can he go one step further and knock out Anthony Joshua? Or will Joshua secure revenge and win back the heavyweight titles? There's a lot on the line here, and you know, it's a massive fight, let's be real, one of the biggest fights of the year. But despite it being one of the biggest fights of the year, one of the major news stories or talking points surrounding this fight is the future of Tyson Fury. Of course, in the last week or so, we've heard news from Tyson Fury that he is going to retire. Now, when it comes to Tyson Fury and things he says, you know, you do have to take them with a grain of salt. But this time around, this latest set of retirement talks, they definitely seem more valid than they have previously. Of course, it's been revealed that Tyson Fury is no longer the Ring Magazine champion. Actually, it's looking likely that Joshua and Usyk will fight for that title. So Tyson Fury is no longer the Ring Magazine champion, and also the WBC, I believe they are giving him till end of August for him to clarify in writing what direction he's going in. Is he going to retire or is he going to continue? So yeah, there seems to be more weight behind these latest retirement claims from Tyson Fury, and I think he is literally 1 foot in, 1 foot out right now. And what I mean by that is I believe he will have a very keen eye on Anthony Joshua versus Oleksandr Usyk too. And quite frankly, I believe Tyson Fury will be having his fingers and toes crossed for Anthony Joshua to win this rematch, because obviously Joshua versus Fury, regardless if Joshua has lost a couple of times, it's a massive fight and arguably the biggest fight in boxing. And you would imagine that if that fight were to come off, the likes of Saudi Arabia would be involved with massive site fees. The pay-per-view numbers and TV revenue would be huge. We're talking about a fight there where both guys could earn 100 million plus. It's that sort of fight. And let's be real, I think stylistically, Tyson Fury will look at Anthony Joshua as a much simpler fight than Oleksandr Usyk. I'm not saying Joshua doesn't pose any threat. Of course he does. He's a big lump, carries power in both hands. But Anthony Joshua is relatively predictable. He's a straight up and down boxer puncher with a lot of flaws, both technically and physically. And I think Tyson Fury sees that. And on top of that, of course, Joshua, despite with all of those vulnerabilities and things of that nature, he comes with a huge payday, right? Whereas to me at least, Tyson Fury has never been, the energy towards Oleksandr Usyk has been off. And again, I know Tyson Fury, he talks with the wind. 1 minute he says one thing, the next he says the other. But to me, when Tyson Fury talks about Usyk and a potential fight, to me he always gives the energy that he's never really been that interested. And I'm not saying Tyson Fury can't beat Oleksandr Usyk. I believe he can. He's got the height, he's got the reach, he's got the strength, he's got skills of his own. Fury is a very good fighter, as we know, but I think Tyson Fury realises that Usyk is a totally different equation in comparison to what he's fought previously. Usyk is mad as a box of frogs. He's got tremendous boxing ability, southpaw, he's quick, he can get in and out, side to side. Usyk is a tremendous fighter, and stylistically I wonder whether Tyson Fury sees him as a big problem, especially this version of Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, who used to get up on his toes back in the day against the likes of Vladimir Klitschko and Chisora, I don't think that Tyson Fury exists anymore. I don't think he's as mobile as he once was. And against a fleet-footed guy like Oleksandr Usyk, who can get in and out, who can utilise that side-to-side movement, I think he'll see Oleksandr Usyk as a guy who could potentially be really hard to pin down. And it's funny because if you go back a few years and you watch Tyson Fury's interview with Joe Rogan, he actually described his fight with Steve Cunningham in similar fashion. He said that he couldn't box with Steve Cunningham, and to paraphrase him, he basically said that Steve Cunningham was a better boxer. He was quicker, he was more mobile, and Fury said, I struggled badly in that fight. And essentially, he just had to throw boxing out the window, get dirty, get rugged, and utilise that size, and that's what he did, and obviously he won the fight. But, you know, maybe he looks back to that fight, he realises how much he struggled with Steve Cunningham, and maybe he sees something similar in Oleksandr Usyk. And, you know, when you go back to that Steve Cunningham fight, that was Tyson Fury in his physical prime. Maybe not mental prime or technical prime, but physically that was arguably Tyson Fury's prime. And we saw how badly he struggled with the mobility of Steve Cunningham. And this version of Tyson Fury, like I said, he's nowhere near as mobile on his feet as that Tyson Fury. He doesn't move quite as well as he did back then. He's certainly not as good athletically as he was back then. I mean, if you go back and watch Tyson Fury from like 2013 to 2015, like his reactions and hand-eye coordination is pretty staggering when you compare it to now. And yeah, I've got a funny feeling that Tyson Fury views Oleksandr Usyk as a massive threat to his unbeaten record. One thing about Tyson Fury, he understands boxing, he knows boxing extremely well, and he knows he's not physically the same fighter as he was back then. What he's turned into has been enough against the likes of Deontay Wilder and Dillian White, cool, and they were good performances to varying degrees, but Oleksandr Usyk brings different attributes. Ridiculous foot speed, stamina, hand speed, in and out movement, southpaw stance. I mean, look at how badly Tyson Fury struggled with Otto Wallin. Otto Wallin was getting lead foot positioning on Tyson Fury, and he was taking rounds from Tyson Fury, chipping away to the body really well. And listen, man, Otto Wallin is, in terms of skill set, he is a good European level guy, nothing more, nothing less. No power, no crazy attributes, just a proficient southpaw. And we saw the type of trouble that he gave Tyson Fury. What I'm trying to say is, I think Tyson Fury is hedging his bets here with this retirement talk. I think it's going to go one of two ways. If Oleksandr Usyk wins this fight against Anthony Joshua, I think Tyson Fury's retirement could be real. However, if Anthony Joshua wins this rematch, I've got a feeling you'll see Tyson Fury come out of retirement. That's how I'm viewing this right now. That's my guess at least. I've just never been convinced when Tyson Fury talks about an Usyk fight, a potential Usyk fight. To me, it's like he's never really had his heart set on that fight. And again, maybe Usyk wins this fight with Joshua again, and we get that Fury-Usyk fight. I hope we do, if that's the way it goes. But I wouldn't be shocked if Fury's retirement is real if Usyk wins this fight. But if Joshua wins, I can't see this guy staying retired. I really can't. There's too much money on the table. Probably 100 million plus, some crazy money on the table. Whereas the Usyk fight might not generate that same sort of revenue. And also, stylistically, I think Tyson Fury sees it as a harder fight, despite Usyk being the smaller man. But yeah, hopefully I'm wrong, man. This is what I hope. Regardless who wins, I hope we get undisputed, regardless whether it's Joshua or Usyk. But this is boxing, you know. We rarely get what we want, and when we do, it's usually pretty late. I mean, how long have we been talking about undisputed at heavyweight? I mean, 2018 with Joshua and Wilder, and it's never really materialised since then, has it? So we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Del Boy. Peace.